Jeffrey struggles to attract women because he simply isn't confident. When he speaks to women, he just awkwardly starts to stumble on his words. Hi, Jessica, you come here late? What? Never mind, Jeffrey. Come on, man. She's already walked away. Jeffrey's lack of confidence is a major barrier to him finding romantic success, and he constantly feels lonely and excluded from society. If only Jeffrey was like Adonis. Adonis is, of course, the perfect man, and because of this, he has the most successful dating life. But it wasn't always this way. He was once an awkward young man just like yourself. He struggled with women, and even more so with his friends who weren't really his friends. But because of his sheer hard work and determination, Adonis has become a confident and charismatic man. There's a very controversial part of my life that you may not know about. I've mentioned before, if you've watched a bunch of my videos, I've mentioned before that I had like my boy phase, and there was a time when I was sleeping with like a lot of girls. I was being a degenerate, and I don't think it's good for you, but this was the experience I went through. The way that I got there, because even though, you know, I was going out partying and, you know, sleeping with girls, and you can say that's a bad thing, but I became a very confident guy when I was around 20, 21 years old. And if you just rewind a few years before that, so I'm 25 right now, 22, 21, like 20, I was like very confident, literally getting so many girls, making so many friends. I was like the host of the parties and stuff. If you rewind just a few years past that, I was that awkward, shy video gamer. There's something that changed it all for me that I barely ever speak about. One tool that you can't even access anymore, unfortunately, unless you have like a Reddit account. It was the Red Pill subreddit. So you may have heard of the Red Pill, and you've probably seen the contaminated version of the Red Pill, which are the common Red Pill YouTubers these days. That isn't the real Red Pill. The real Red Pill, the OG stuff back in the day that changed my life forever, which, you know, like I give you the self-improvement advice so that you can go from Jeffrey to Adonis, so that you can go from this video gamer who's just lonely to actually a guy who can actually start to attract girls and have like good male friends in your life. When I was growing up and I was 17, 18, 19 years old, there was no YouTube videos like this. The place that I went to learn all of this, to learn about how to become a confident young man, even though I was so awkward at the time, it was the Red Pill subreddit on Reddit. You can't even access it anymore because this site, like this community, has now been like locked down. You know, it's what happens to like masculine men. You've seen it with Andrew Tate. The page got cancelled, but there used to be thousands of guys who would go on there, post, and I myself would post as well, and would ask questions to all the guys who seem to be more successful, and they'd tell us things like, don't just obsess over one woman, you should have more options. Make sure you get into the gym, don't eat shit food. Make sure you don't trust women 100%, even though, like, you know, all the stuff they were saying was so controversial. It's so easy for some Jeffrey who's watching this, you know, some like dweeby feminine man, some male feminist who's watching this who doesn't like us, to say, yeah, see, Hamza used to read the Red Pill, that means he's a misogynist woman hater. But it changed my life forever. It really did. I was that stereotypical, awkward, shy, self-deprecating video gamer when I was 15, 16, 17 years old. And one fateful day, I'm on Reddit, you know, on the app of Reddit. If you don't know what Reddit is, it's kind of like a social media, kind of like Twitter, but like, it's like a forum page, right? I'm on Reddit and I click on this post where people are talking about the Red Pill, saying it's a bunch of misogynists who hate women and everything. And one of them links it there. And so everyone on Reddit hates it, right? And I used to think at the time, and I still do today, that most people on Reddit and most people in general are fucking pussies. So when they say like, oh yeah, these people are so hateful, I'm thinking, okay, wait, let me just see what they're talking about. I click on, and each and every post was telling guys like, yeah, stop eating sugar because it might mess up your testosterone. Oh, she broke up with you, she cheated on you, it's okay, man. Don't try and give her closure, don't try and have the last conversation with her, focus on yourself, go and do 1,000 push-ups today, go out and try and build a business today. It was the most needed community that I could have found, because back then, this movement that I've created myself, it wasn't here. Andrew Tate wasn't there. There was no like real masculine role model at the time. And so I had these like anonymous online guys who were giving me this advice, and some of the best things they said I'm going to walk you through in this video because it's deeply controversial, but I promise I would not be here today if I didn't stumble upon this. And I promise you know how this is true, because it's a little bit like gross and embarrassing, but like, you know how I was able to like consume all this and actually make a change for the first time in my life, right? Because, you know, all of my life I was like this procrastinator, video gamer, didn't do anything productive. There was one specific habit that I did, which is so like specific that you're gonna know that this isn't a lie. I used to wake up every single morning, go for my morning shit first thing in the morning, and literally just read the Red Pill for like 10 minutes. And I promise you, this one habit changed my life forever. Sometimes I'd have like 2 shits a day, 3 shits a day. Always hop on Reddit, read a post, and write my own post and everything, and that changed my life forever. There's a lot of things that I learned, but specifically in terms of how to stop being awkward and feel more confident. Some of the best advice I ever got from there, which is theirs, not mine, although I've obviously lived it now and I've got my own experiences. The best thing for this topic, I remember there was someone who made a post and wrote something along the lines of like, of course you feel awkward, of course you don't feel confident, look at yourself. I read this post, only the first few lines, and suddenly it just stopped me, because because I was used to, you know, on Facebook, on Instagram, I was used to this like feel good kind of like posts of like, yeah, just believe in yourself and you're the best king, you're the best queen, like all this shit. For the first time, someone literally called me out and said, you're a loser. That's why you have no confidence, because losers don't deserve confidence. Only the top men deserve to be confident. Here's how to become one of them. Written so plainly, so offensively, you know, not politically correct. Someone just called me out in this post, so I'm gonna do it for you. You don't deserve to feel confidence, bro. You deserve to feel awkward because you've been living like a pussy. All of the Jeffreys watching this video, those weak guys, will be tempted to click off this video right now. Maybe that's you. Maybe you're literally getting tempted because you're like, oh, this guy's just being an asshole. He's so narcissistic. He just loves himself. But there's a reason why you're still watching, because you can kind of feel like this feels right. Like you needed to hear this. You needed almost in a weird way to be told off and to be told you're living like you're a fucking pussy. Because you know what the thing is, most of us, bro, we played video games for 10 years straight. We watched porn and fapped 3 times a day for 10 years straight. And maybe you're a little bit, you know, advanced in your self-improvement. You've been going to the gym and stuff, but you've only been doing the good things for one little sliver of your life, haven't you? Most of your life, even from when you were 5 years old, you've been playing games. You've been just fucking around, not doing anything productive. Most of your life has been a waste. And this small sliver where you've recently gone to self-improvement, you've been going to the gym, you've been trying to work harder, has now been productive. And you know, if you've still got a Jeffrey brain, you're probably thinking, no, this part of my life wasn't a waste because I really enjoyed it and I get really nostalgic feelings about my childhood. That's Jeffrey propaganda. It's not how we should really be thinking. We are men. From birth, we should have been building our strength, our character, our ability to provide. Because you know what's very interesting? The games that we played when we were younger that made us feel awkward, that took all of our confidence away, those games that we played were just a reflection of the real masculine desires that we had even before we hit puberty. Before we hit puberty, when we were like 10 years old, 7 years old, and we're playing these games that all had like fucking, like what does Call of Duty have? Like prestige? Guess what prestige is? Guess what that golden gun, you know, on Call of Duty, oh, you get 10th prestige and you can have golden skin. Guess what that represents? Status. Guess what on RuneScape, you know, you're leveling up and you want to get the skill cape. You want to get the, you know, you've maxed out your cooking, now you want to get the skill cape. Guess what that represents? Status. On FIFA, you're playing this fucking little disgusting football game and you want to fight your friend and you want to win against him. Guess what it represents? Competitiveness. We had these masculine desires inside of us when we were literally 4 years old, 6 years old. We had these core masculine desires inside of us, and instead of using them in the real world to develop ourselves and our character, we used them in the virtual world, and we just became weirdly like socially awkward instead because we're staring into a screen instead of the other man in front of us. So yes, this part of our life was a waste if you spent it just like I did. Yeah, it seems proper cute to look back and like, oh yeah, nostalgic. Oh, Minecraft music, so nostalgic. Yeah, of course it is. Minecraft was a sick game. RuneScape was fucking sick. I enjoyed that time. But when I look back now as a young man thinking, bro, I could have been doing something productive and manly at that time, even when I was 7 years old. Instead of playing football in this fucking virtual game, I could have been playing it outside with my friends and actually developed myself and felt more confident. But I was one of those kids synced away underneath the fucking covers playing on the fucking PSP when I'm like 10 years old. So you want to know how to look and feel more confident. It would be so amazing if I told you some quick tip, wouldn't it? You know already, all of the Jeffreys, if I told them straight away, here is a quick tip to look more confident, just do this. Oh, just stand up straight. And they're like, whoa, yay, whoa, fast tips. That would have been so amazing for this video's performance. But since I've called people out and said, you know what, there's no shortcut to feeling confident. There's no shortcut to destroying your awkwardness. We've been doing the wrong thing for most of our lives, and only the most recent part of it, we've been actually doing some good stuff. It takes more time. The truth is, to become more confident, it takes years. At the very least, it takes months of hardcore focus on one thing. You know that one guy that you may have in mind who like disappeared for a bit, came back a few months later with like a new physique or new style, and he seemed so much more confident. He put the fucking work in. That's how men become confident. We put the work in and we progress to something that brings us status. Now you may be thinking, I mentioned before status, and I've just said it again, status. Status is our place amongst other men. Where do we line up? Here's the top, here's the bottom, here's Adonis, here's Jeffrey. Where are we between them? A lot of guys betray their masculine desire of status and they don't want to play this game anymore. They say, oh yeah, status seeking people are weird and I don't want to. That's literally as feminine as it could get. There's one thing that men care about so deeply, and it is our status, our position amongst other men. You know why it feels so good to play video games and to level up and to perform well in any video game you play? Because it's status. It manipulates this masculine brain inside of us to pursue it in some virtual world instead of the real one. And now we've grown up and now we want to buy Rolexes and we want to buy fancy cars. Status. We do everything for status because we want to be somewhere good. You know, there's literally real science to show that the higher you are in the status of men, the more serotonin your body produces. Andrew Huberman and Jordan Peterson talk about this. You will literally produce more dopamine, more serotonin, more testosterone, the higher amongst men that you get. So become more like Adonis. Pursue this goal of gaining more status. It's not a bad thing. Just don't do it in some like shallow way that we know doesn't work, like buying the fancy car car or something. Become a leader of men. And it takes a long time. If you are looking for a quick fix to look more confident tomorrow for school or for your workplace, you're lost. But if you want the slow win, and the slow win's not that slow, bro, it takes 2 years and the time's gonna pass by anyway. Develop yourself, and specifically, remember this line, this is so important. Make progress in something that will gain you more status amongst men. That is the best thing you could possibly do to feel more confident. Make progress in something that will gain you more status amongst men. Click and watch this video right now, do the hard work, especially when you don't feel like it. Mwah!